Well, all right. This is Lois Kofi. I'm a sales trainer and podcaster, owner of Lois Kofi Enterprises. Welcome to my 5-day lead gen and sales mastery challenge. You're going to be able to escape the hustle, attract dream clients, and swell your business with red hot leads and referral partners every week. If you go through this challenge, 1 hour a day, different topics to guide you, homework, call to action to support you in generating 100 leads in 5 days. This is going to be interactive. This is going to be fun. Please make sure you're inside of my Healthy and Wealthy and Wise Facebook community so you can be a part in the live coaching. And I look forward to supporting you and seeing your results on the other side. We've had people come away from this to make 5 figures, even 6 figures in a month just by applying these principles. Here's to your success.
Hey, what is up, good people? I am so excited to be spending time with you during Coaches Lois's Lead Gen and Sales Mastery 5-Day Challenge. Listen, if you are watching this, that means that you are at the halfway mark because it is day 3. And today, we're going to be talking about LinkedIn lead gen and client attraction made easy. I've got some really impactful information to share with you today, and I'm looking forward to diving right in. So let's go ahead and get started, shall we? Before I get started, I'd like to cover 3 questions. These are 3 questions that have literally shaped my life. And so here's the first question. Do you believe that the company you keep determines what you reap in life? In other words, the people you hang around are literally like seeds being sown into your life that eventually will sprout up in some way, shape, or form. So here's a picture of me hanging out with one of my mentors, John Maxwell. And John is on a long list of mentors and coaches that have absolutely shaped my life. Now, the reason why that first question is kind of important to me can be found in a couple of quotes. Now, if you subscribe to the wisdom that can be found in the Bible, then there's this verse in the book of Proverbs, chapter 13, that says, "He who walks with the wise grows wise, but a companion of fools suffers harm." A very relevant quote. And then there's what I consider to be timeless wisdom from the great Jim Rohn, who tells us that we are the average of the 5 people that we spend the most time with it. And so one really critical takeaway from this is this whole idea that your environment matters. Who you hang around makes a difference. Who you're in proximity with makes a huge difference. And quite honestly, the fact that you are here, a part of Coach Lois's tribe, the fact that you're going through this 5-day challenge with her will absolutely make a difference in your life. You know, I've gotten to know Lois over the past year, and in the time of me getting to know her, I have been nothing but impressed with who she is as an individual, with what she stands for, and most importantly, the transformation that she is looking to bring forth into the lives of those that she's privileged to serve. She's just an incredible being and an incredible person to know. So you guys are in phenomenally great company. Here's the second question that I'd like for you to consider. And you know, as I ask this question, it's really important that you make a mental note of what your initial reaction is to this question, because I believe it's going to give you some key insights. It's going to share a lot about what you believe to be possible for you. And so here's the question. Do you believe that you can turn your annual income into a monthly income? And more importantly, do you believe that you can make that happen this year? Now, again, do me a favor. And I want you to pay attention to your instinctual, mental, and emotional response to both of these questions. This whole idea of turning your annual income to a monthly income, one, but more importantly, the fact that that could actually happen this year. Now, as you pay attention to your initial responses to this, I believe it's going to highlight some clues on where you're at on the trajectory of moving from what I consider to be a poverty or a limited mindset to more of an abundance or a limitless mindset. The fact of the matter is this: if you want to make this a reality in your life, this whole idea of turning your annual income to a monthly income, the very first step you have to make is you have to transform the way that you think. You see, the more information that you consume, that you internalize, and that you implement, the more that you'll have new experiences that shift you from a limited to more of an abundant mindset. As a matter of fact, if you'd like to bridge the gap between what you think is possible and what's actually possible, then I want to invite you to join Lois and I at our upcoming masterclass, Solopreneur 7-Figure Blueprint, where you'll learn how to turn your annual income into a monthly income, enjoy 12 weeks off each and every year, and thrive without ever having to worry about marketing again. Now, the reason why I asked this second question, the reason why this second question is important to me is again found in really some familiar sources where I go hunting for wisdom. There's another quote from the book of Deuteronomy in the Bible, and here's what that quote says. It says, "May the Lord, the God of your fathers, increase you 1,000 times and bless you as he's promised." Now, if you're a Christian and you're listening to this, then you know the Bible is full of promises that are ripe for plucking. Once you bring your life into alignment with the principles and philosophies that the Bible teaches. Now, many of you may recognize the name Grant Cardone. He's made popular this whole idea of 10xing your life and your business. What I find to be interesting is before Grant ever showed up on the scene, so to speak, ancient wisdom from the Bible spoke of promises and opportunities for you to not just 10x your life, but to literally 1,000x your life and your business. Now, let's be honest about this. You don't even have to be a Christian to get excited about the opportunity to 1,000x your life and your business. I mean, that is exciting no matter what your spiritual foundation is, right? Now, additionally, if we source wisdom from the great Bob Proctor, we recognize that he's taught us, and he said that when we come to a place of understanding as to the law of compensation, then we can actually turn our annual income into a monthly income. Now, this is something that I've experienced in my life. And the key here is to simply understand that money is currency. And when you look at the root word of currency, what you find is current, which means that money loves to flow. It loves to be in motion. And it only flows in abundance into streams where incredible value is being given, being delivered, or being transferred. Now, I could spend a whole day talking about this principle, but let's move on because there's so much more goodness that I want to share with you guys. Here's my third question for you. And as I ask this question, it's important to make a mental note of what your initial reaction is to this question. I want you to think about this for a second. At the time of this recording, there's been a civil war that's broken out in South Africa that's tied to grievances around actions that were taken to imprison a former president. Additionally, we are At this point, only about 17 months removed from the pandemic of 2020. And during the pandemic, there were household name brands that literally went out of business. Now, for varying reasons, people have experienced a lot of loss over the past couple of years. And so I ask you this question. If today, at the very present time that you are watching this presentation, if you were to lose everything that you had, and I'm talking all of your assets, all of your income, all of your professional licenses, etc., could you recover? And could you build a six-figure business from scratch in less than 12 months? It's a question worth pondering. It's something that I know Coach Lois has done. It's something that I know that I've also had to do. And so it's something that I want you to take into consideration. You know, I said earlier that the more information that you consume, that you internalize and that you implement, the more that you'll have new experiences that will elevate your thinking, shift you from a limited to an abundant mindset. So here's some more information for your consideration to consume to help you make this shift. It's well known that in the midst of a famine, one that was worse than the likes of what we've seen with the pandemic of 2020, one that was worse than the recession of 2008 or the Great Depression of 1929. The Bible tells us that there was a man by the name of Isaac who sowed seed in the land that he lived in, and in the same year reaped 100-fold blessing. That's 100x increase for those who are keeping score. And then we have the great Bob Proctor, who reminds us that most people have attained their greatest failure. Most people have attained their greatest success, just one stop beyond their greatest failure. You see, as an entrepreneur who's been at this thing now for 2 decades, it's been my personal experience that entrepreneurs have to be willing to fail 99 times to get to that one time that they're successful. You see, the secret to being a successful entrepreneur is to recognize that it only takes you being right one time to strike gold. But the question is always, are you willing to hang in there, to go through those 99 times when you might be wrong to get to that one time that you're actually right? And then last but not least, we've got my mentor, John Maxwell, who reminds us that a man must be big enough to admit his mistakes, smart enough to profit from them, and strong enough to correct them. Lord knows that I have had my fair share of course corrections over the course of my life, where I've had to keep pushing, where I've had to keep persevering to finally make it back up to the mountaintop. So I'd like to talk briefly about really the importance of why I started off this presentation with these 3 key questions that I said have shaped my life. Here's what I know to be true. To win big in life and in business, you have to recognize that success is dual-natured. You see, there's what we call the inner game of success, and then there's what we call the outer game of success. And quite frankly, your responses to those 3 questions are indications of the invisible boundaries that you have placed for what's possible for you to be, for you to do, and for you to have in this present life. And to get to the other side of what life could look like, you absolutely have to break those boundaries. You got to break them. You got to get past them. And so let's assume that you've broken past those invisible boundaries. Let's talk about what life could look like. How many of you who are watching this presentation right now would like to be able to generate an additional 10 to 20 or more new ideal client opportunities each and every month? And how many of you would love to be able to do that while building a 6-figure business over the next 12 months that you can grow to multiple 6 figures or even 7 figures in the years thereafter? And here's where I am going to differ from the vast majority of the speakers that you've heard at a challenge, at a summit, at a webinar, at any forum where speakers generally speak. How'd you like to be able to do everything that I just said, accomplish all of what I just said, without having to start a podcast, without having to build an email list, create an online course, build an online funnel, or even hound your family members and friends to become clients, or worse yet, having to pay for advertising while making Google and Facebook phenomenally rich? You see, that's the opportunity that's available to a select group of Coach Lois's Lead Gen and Sales Mastery 5-Day Challenge participants who decide to take massive action on the information and the opportunity that we share with you today. But I'm guessing that this is probably not your first rodeo, right? This is not your first online presentation. It's likely not your first 5-day challenge. And as brilliant as all of the other events and speakers at those events might have been, chances are you may not have realized the success that you had hoped for when joining those events. And if that sounds like you, the first thing that I want to do is let you know that it's absolutely not your fault. Let's face it, there's a ton of information out there today. And quite frankly, a lot of it is downright confusing. And as a result of all of that massive confusion, it has you hopping literally from one shiny object to the other, all in the hopes of trying to solve the very problem that you have, and all while experiencing no real success in the endeavor. So here's what I know to be true. Information without application, it always leads to devastation. But information with application will always lead to transformation. And because we know that implementing the information that we learn at all these different events that we go to, that's often one of the biggest success impediments, one of the biggest obstacles to success we face. It's why in the various programs that both Lois and I offer to help our clients, we focus not on just done with you programs, but on completely done for you and even run for you programs. So you can experience the transformation that you are seeking from all of this new information and knowledge that you have acquired. And so here's my promise to you. Lois and I will do our very best over the next 5 days, over the course of this challenge, to deliver some transformative information for your life and for your business. And for many of you, what we share over the next 5 days will be enough. It'll be enough information for you to use and to make some pretty significant changes in your life and the way you run your life, the way you run your business. And if you're one of those do-it-yourselfers and you're really, really disciplined, you'll be able to run with the information we share and make some really good improvements in your business and in your life. And for those of you who do that, from our perspective, it is mission accomplished. Okay? But there's going to be several of you that are very much like me, where after an event like this, what we've shared over the course of 5 days, all it's going to do is simply whet your appetite for more. And you're going to want to know how you can personalize this information that's been shared to make massive shifts in your business, to take the next quantum leap that's necessary for growth. Now, for those of you who find yourself in this category, I've got a question for you. Would it be okay if Lois and I showed you how you can do exactly that? I hope Lois and I have our permission to be able to do that with you over the course of time that you're hanging out with us. So I'm not going to spend a lot of time telling you about myself right now. Frankly, we've got a lot of content to cover, and I want to get right to it. But I'll share a little bit about my story as we go along. I do think it's important that you know who has your attention, right? So my name is Ike Ikokwu. I'm the founder of the Coaching Air Institute, as well as other brands through the companies that I represent. under my brands. I offer training, coaching, and mentoring programs that shatter the invisible boundaries over what our clients can be, do, or have in this life. I specifically help purpose-driven entrepreneurs who have relevant skill, knowledge, and expertise to monetize their purpose and either launch their business, grow to 6 figures, or scale to 7 figures. I wrote a personal finance book, which became an Amazon best-selling book when it was first released. The book exposes 9 financial myths that the financial industry wants you to believe, and then it details some of the financial principles, concepts, and strategies that I used to become a millionaire at the age of 34, just 5 years after filing bankruptcy. Now, from the work that I do with my clients, you can categorize me as a bit of a success, mindset, business coach. And after suffering devastating business betrayals that have seen me and my family make and lose 7 figures twice, I found myself on the brink of bankruptcy during the first half of 2019. Now, I'll spare you the chilling details of how I got to the bottom of the mountain. But the good news is I was able to make it back to the top. I was able to make a comeback. And after almost filing bankruptcy during the first half of 2019, I was able to resurrect my coaching, consulting, and mentoring business. I ended up doing 6 figures during the last half of 2019. Now, one of the key ingredients to my comeback story, beyond the work that I did with mentors and coaches in my life, was really learning how to authentically generate an endless stream of leads on LinkedIn. As a matter of fact, in just 6 months of ramping up my presence on LinkedIn in 2019, I was recognized by one of the top 50 LinkedIn influencers as an up-and-coming influencer to keep an eye on. And I'm very honored by that recognition, and I'm really thankful for the incredible team that I worked with that helped make that a reality. In 2020, I did multiple 6 figures, and the plan for 2021 is to hit 7 figures and maybe even do multiple 7 figures. Now, while all of that might sound really impressive to you, what I'm most impressed by on this list of bullet points on the slide to introduce you to who I am, it's simply this last bullet point. It's the fact that I'm a father to 3 beautiful kids, Ella, Zion, and Joel, ages 14, 11, and 6. It's the fact that I'm a husband to the most stunningly beautiful woman that I know. Her name is Emma. She's the love of my life. And then lastly, I am a lover of life and a lover of Christ. Speaking of which, I want to share a few pictures of me doing exactly what I just said, living life to the fullest. And so that's my wife and I doing our best to get our 70s gear on. Next picture there is you see me and some brothers of mine on a mission trip in Nicaragua. And the other picture at the top is me getting ready for a date night with my wife. Bottom left, you've got a picture of my family and I on one of our annual trips. Another one is of us hanging out at the top of a mountain. The other one is of Emma and I at a beach. And the last one there is Emma and I taking some cooking classes on a date night. So that's a little bit about me. Now, what I want to share with you today is how lead generation and client attraction can be made easy by learning how to master LinkedIn as a client attraction funnel. When it comes to crushing it with your lead generation and client attraction activities, it's important that you note that there's really 2 games that every business owner is playing or should be playing. There's what I call the long game. And to play the long game, you start out by positioning yourself as an expert in your field of expertise, by positioning yourself either as an expert, as a thought leader, or as a trusted advisor. So it starts out with clear positioning. The next component of the long game is what I refer to as celebritized personal branding, which helps you get discovered by those who need and will benefit from your products and services. Clients of mine who've been through the client attraction mastery portion of my 3 Phases of Success program know that I teach you how you can do this for free by creating content that resonates with your target audience and your brand. Now, you do a good job with both of these, and you'll end up attracting what I call your IC3 opportunities. There's only 3 things that every business needs to grow and create a thriving business. You need what I call your ideal client opportunities, your ideal collaboration opportunities, as well as your ideal communication opportunities. The client opportunities are pretty obvious. The collaboration opportunities provide an opportunity for you to leverage the influence and credibility that somebody has with an existing tribe of clients, people who could benefit from your service. Oftentimes, as a result of that opportunity, you may then land the 3rd piece, ideal communication opportunities, where you are invited to come speak on a podcast, on a challenge, at a summit, at a conference, and you get to share your signature talk, not on a one-on-one basis like you might do on an initial sales call, but on a one-to-many. It could be 10, could be 50, could be 100 people. These are the 3 things that every business needs to thrive. So that's the long game. In the short game, the formula is very similar. You're clearly positioning yourself as a trusted advisor or as an expert. You're celebritizing your personal branding, and then you're setting the stage to experience your IC3 opportunities. Now, if the long game is all about client attraction, the short game is all about client pursuit. And so the way we get there is, rather than waiting for all of the seeds that have been sown in the long game to start bearing fruit in your business, is you have to now engage in what I call relational messaging strategies and setups to set the stage to have your IC3 opportunities show up. Okay. Relational messaging is really, really where it's at. And from my personal experience with the work that I've done with coaches and consultants and other business owners, a lot of people are missing the boat. You see, you can do everything that I've just shared with you on the slide. You can do this on Facebook. You can do this on Instagram. You can do this literally on any platform where your ideal clients congregate in bunches. And for coaches who've fallen in love with Facebook and who think that that's the only place that your ideal client is hanging out, you're making a grave mistake. Trust me on this. From my personal experience and the work that I've done with coaches, consultants, and other business owners, I know for a fact that there isn't a target market or an ideal client that you want to work with that you can't identify and appropriately engage with on LinkedIn. The key is you just have to know how to do it in a way where you don't come off like all of the other lousy marketers who try to use LinkedIn for business. And so here's the secret, the real magic behind how to do this and to do this right in the short game. It's through understanding the power of what's called the relational marketing grid, which in my mind is really the foundation for success in any relationship, both business and personal. And so here are the 4 parts to that grid. For those of you that are married, you're going to really appreciate the 4 parts to this grid. It's going to really resonate with you. You'd agree that your marriage probably wouldn't exist today unless your fiance somehow stood out from the crowd and captured your attention. That's the first part of the quadrant. It's the same thing in business. You've got to ask yourself, what am I doing in business to be able to capture the attention of leads, prospects, and partners that I want to work with? Now, even after your husband or wife caught your attention initially, captured your attention initially, you likely didn't stand a chance in making them your spouse unless you forged a real connection with them. In my 3 Phases of Success program, I show you how to do that with the people that you are connected to on LinkedIn, whether connected to them for a day or whether connected to them for years. See, from the early days of dating until the point when you say I do, there is no couple that I'm aware of who makes it to their wedding day unless they've spent time nurturing that relationship, which is the third component of this quadrant. Well, the same thing is true in business. It's the nurturing of relationships that earns you the opportunity to get to where everybody wants to get to. The fourth part of this quadrant, which is where you get to solve the problems that your clients are facing. Now, back to my marriage analogy. And it's as a result of you nurturing that relationship that you got to solve one of the most important problems that the bride or the groom will ever face. And that's the question of who's going to be my forever boo? Like, who am I going to spend the rest of my life with, right? Well, it's the same thing in business. It's the nurturing of that relationship that allows you to solve that prospect's critical question of, can I trust you to help me make wise choices for me and my family? I want you to pay attention to this because this is where all marriages go wrong. See, once they've scored the prize, solved the problem of the bride or the groom by answering the age-old question of, do I get to spend the next 50 or 60 years with you? It's shortly after the first year, the second year, maybe the third, fourth, or fifth, that all of a sudden they stop nurturing the relationship. And when you stop nurturing a marriage relationship, what happens? Divorce. And nobody wants that, right? In business, the same is true. When you stop nurturing business relationships, that's when another slick services professional shows up with a shiny new product or solution and woos your client away. Why? All because you failed to nurture that relationship. And so you've heard it said, the fortune is in the follow-up. That's a component of nurturing. And if you did nurture the relationship, then like that Gangnam Style video of 2012 that received 1 billion views in like 5 months, I know you would go viral with your clients and experience exponential growth. Now, the beauty of this is when you nurture properly, you're not only experience growth from your existing clients, but you'll do the same from non-clients, whether those are leads, prospects, or even suspects. Speaking of experiencing growth, I think it's important that we consider this next thing. The bottom line is this. If you want to crush it with the long game, if you want to crush it with the short game, to crush it with the 4 parts of the relational marketing grid, you absolutely must learn to accelerate trust in your business relationships. And to do so, here's a book reference that you can make a note of. It's called The Speed of Trust by Stephen Covey Jr. And here's a quote by his dad. He says, "Trust is the glue of life. It's the most essential ingredient in effective communication. It's the foundational principle that holds all relationships together." And if you want to be successful in your business relationships, you absolutely have to learn how to harness, how to create, and how to accelerate trust. So here's my goal for today. My goal for today is to review the I formula for generating the income that you deserve. I'm going to go over my subconscious Inception marketing system and how it facilitates new client conversions. I'm going to encourage you to use the CCC relational lead generation methodology to create new client conversions. I'm going to illustrate the CCC relational lead generation methodology via LinkedIn outreach. And then I'm going to provide an opportunity for you to take a deeper dive into all of this. Speaking of goals, when it comes to accelerating the speed of trust in business relationships, not only do you need to know thyself, but I believe you need to know your prospective clients very, very well. And I'm not just talking about surface level knowledge. I'm talking about having intimacy with the prospective clients that you want to serve. You see, when you have the requisite level of intimacy with these prospective clients, it puts you in a position to ethically influence them, which ultimately creates or helps you to generate the income that you deserve. One of the beauties of being a parent is it doesn't matter how crowded a mall might seem. It doesn't matter how many teenagers might be in there. Because once a mother hears the voice of their baby calling out their name, they can identify that child in a crowd. The Bible also says something pretty interesting. It says that sheep, they know the voice of their shepherd, and the voice of a stranger they shall not follow. So many of us worry about competition. Oh, there's somebody else doing exactly what I'm doing. How am I going to thrive? How am I going to succeed? What we fail to recognize, though, is when we tap into the very reason for our being, the very purpose for which we exist, for which we were created, and we learn how to infuse our why into our marketing, we step into the role of the shepherd. And when our brand releases its voice into the marketplace, the sheep, the ideal clients that we're supposed to work with, they know our voice. And the voice of a competitor, they will not follow, because they know that you're the only one who's carrying an assignment to lead them to the next epic chapter of their life. So in building intimacy with your ideal clients, what are some things that you should know about them? I think it's important to have a face and a name for what your perfect client looks like. I think it's important for you to fully understand their core values. You should know what's special about the way you run your business that aligns with your perfect client's core values. I think it's critically important that you are able to describe in depth and in detail the vicious cycle, the struggles, the problems that your ideal client is facing. And more importantly, how it's showing up in their life. How is it showing up emotionally, financially, mentally, spiritually, and even relationally? How is it showing up in their lives, and how is it impacting them? I think it's important to know what you stand for and what you stand against. And you want to make sure that it's polarizing enough to where you have people who literally hate your guts. I think sometimes we get it twisted in thinking that we want to please everybody. The fact of the matter is, if you don't have haters, you're probably not doing something right. I mean, you want to create a brand and have a positioning and something that you stand for that is so specific to the core of who you are, that you pretty much have maybe half the people who are absolutely in love with what you stand for and another half who absolutely hate it. I think it's also important for you to know at a deep, deep level what your client wants, what they need. You should be able to communicate the transformation that you can bring into their lives over the short term, over the next 3 months, 6 months, over the next year. And then you want to be able to distill down to that one big thing that your perfect client absolutely wants from you. What is that one thing that if you gave it to them, it would absolutely trump any objection that they could have about ever wanting to work with you? The very first time that I went through this exercise, I kid you not, it took me all day to crystallize this, and I ended up with about 20 pages of notes. But what it did for me was it created the level of intimacy with the audience that I wanted to serve, so that I was in a position where I could ethically influence them to do what's in their best interest, while at the same time putting me in a position to create the income that I deserve. Quite frankly, to dominate your niche, to crush your goals in business. And I personally think you can't avoid going through this exercise and doing it at the depth that is necessary to create that level of intimacy where you're at a point where you know your ideal client as good as, if not better, than you might know a spouse that you've lived with for a couple of decades. So that's Triple I formula. Now that you're aware of that formula, let's talk about my subconscious Inception marketing system. Now, if you've ever watched the movie Inception with Leonardo DiCaprio, then you know in that movie that he was able to kind of use technology and enter into the, people's minds and kind of access their dreams and tap into their subconscious thoughts And oh, by the way, if you've studied the mind, then you know that your subconscious thoughts is what drives all of our behavior, right? And so if you can access people's subconscious thoughts, then you can ethically influence them. But before you ever earn the right to influence somebody's behavior, it's important that you have permission. Now, if you've ever received a text message, an email, a DM, any form of outreach, a phone call from someone who you don't know from Adam, yet all they seem to want to do in their first approach, in their first conversation with you, is to sell you their products or services. You know what that experience is like. You know it's not a pleasant feeling. But when you have someone's permission and you engage in the steps within my subconscious Inception marketing system, it only leads to one conclusion, and that's a new client conversion. Now, another component of this process, the subconscious Inception marketing system, is my triple C relational currency lead generation methodology. With this methodology, when you are fully present, when you are fully aware of your purpose here on earth, and you're operating from a vibrational frequency of abundance, you'll engage in some of the most intimate conversations with prospective clients where you really connect with them on a deep and an emotional level, on a level where within the span of an hour, they might go, oh my goodness, I've only met you for about an hour, yet I feel like I've known you since high school. See, when you're able to elicit that kind of an emotion with the initial calls that you might have with a lead, it will almost always result in converting them to a new client, especially if you've clearly established that you are able to bridge the gap between where they are today versus where they desire to be in the future. As a matter of fact, if you show me any coach or any expert or any business owner who is struggling to grow their business, I can assure you that that's an individual who isn't having a steady dose of conversations with the right kinds of conversations with people. Puff Daddy might be, he might have penned the track, "It's all about the Benjamins, baby." But I can tell you that in the world of client attraction and lead gen, trust me when I tell you, it's all about the conversations, baby. Now, here's the framework that I teach, which is focused heavily on making significant deposits of value into the prospective relationship versus making withdrawals. In this framework, what you're going to find is that there are 3 deposits that are made compared to 1 withdrawal. And the withdrawal that's made, as you'll see when we get to it, isn't even really a withdrawal. You got to think about it from the perspective of a bank. Like, nobody goes into a bank, makes a deposit of $100, and then walks out from the bank thinking they can go to the ATM, stick their ATM card in there and pull out $100,000, right? The ATM is going to tell you insufficient funds. You've not made sufficient deposits into that bank. And so when we start spilling our guts and trying to pitch and sell people right off the bat, when we've not taken the time to make sufficient deposits and earn the right to be invited to solve their problems, what do we expect the outcome of that's going to be, right? And so let's go through and kind of break down this relational messaging framework that I teach by going through some very specific examples. I'm a big believer that nothing happens, right? In terms of this framework, nothing happens until you open the door. You can't get to a position of solving anybody's problem until you open the door and establish a relationship. So what I'm going to do over the next few minutes here is go through some varying examples of what a door opener would look like, actually connecting with a prospect first. And then you see some examples of how we make an initial or a second or third deposit, and how we kind of lob a soft request for an opportunity to get on a phone call with a prospective lead, client, etc. So here's a LinkedIn messaging that I call the cute door opener. It goes a little something like this. It says, "Hi, John. We're both passionate about entrepreneurship. I've had great I've had great relationships serving the small businesses in the whatever specific industry that you're targeting. And so I wanted to introduce myself in a way that showed I was interesting, witty, and clever. Alas, I wrote this message instead. I'd love to connect. Your new friend, Ike. So when you look at this message, it's a door opener. It's kind of cute, kind of whimsical, kind of, shows a little bit of personality, but it puts people at ease, right? There's nothing pitchy about this, right? And that's one that oftentimes will open up the door to somebody connecting with you, which then sets the stage for everything else that we teach. Another example of this, of a LinkedIn connection message, is what I call the to the point door opener. And so here's an example of that. It goes a little something like this. It says, "Hi, John. I've had some great and mutually beneficial relationships with serving the business growth needs of small businesses in the accounting industry, financial services industry, coaching industry, doesn't matter, whatever industry you're going after. And so when LinkedIn suggested you as a connection, I couldn't help but reach out to connect." Okay. And so with this one, what you're finding here is you're kind of, getting right to the point. You're letting them know, hey, I've served people that are just like yourself. I've had some really, really good relationships that have been mutually beneficial. And, LinkedIn continues to make recommendations of people to connect. When I saw that you were in this exact same industry with those who I've had these mutually beneficial relationships with, I figured I should go ahead and reach out. Okay. Another really good one there. Here's what I call the flattering door opener. Okay. And here's what this one looks like. So it says something along the lines of, "Hey, John, it's the second time that your name has popped up in my LinkedIn suggestions." A little bit of flattery going on there, right? The John Maxwell team sounds really interesting because this person happens to be a John Maxwell team coach. And so I thought we should connect, right? So a little bit of flattery, again, trying to nudge that door open to make sure you have somebody actually accept your connection request. Another example is what we call the ego stroke, okay? The ego stroke door opener sounds a little something like this. "Hi, John, your video on nervousness popped up on my feed earlier. I found it to be thought-provoking, as I've never considered nervous energy to be a sign that I'm stepping into my purpose and getting ready to do something great. I'd like to connect with you to hear more of your content. Best, Ike." Again, that just strokes somebody's ego. It lets them know that the content that they're putting out there resonated with me. I'm sharing a little bit about how it resonated with me. Again, anybody getting that, chances are they'd be open and warm to accepting that connection request. Here's another example. This one's called the leverage an existing connection door opener. And this is one of my favorites because somebody reached out to me and said, "Hi, Ike. I'm a student of Lois Kofi and she speaks very highly of you. I'd love to connect. Here on LinkedIn to follow your work." Now, what I love about this is obviously I know who Lois is, but I can't tell you the number of times I receive connection requests from people who go, "Hey, we have mutual connections." And so I thought I'd reach out. Well, I've got over 14,000 people, 13, whatever it is I'm connected to. Like, you want me to go dig through my network to try to figure out who might be the mutual connection, right? Wrong move, okay? So if you're going to leverage an existing connection, drop the name, maybe talk a little bit about what you know about them, and that's going to get you some really, really good mileage. All right, here's one I call, it's another ego stroke, right? You hear this one says, "Hey, Ike, I recently saw your profile and it appears that you are doing great. Your content and your knowledge is a breath of fresh air, and I can tell that you are helping a lot of people. I especially love how you are giving all this wisdom for free. I hope you're doing great. Take care and have a nice day." Again, flattery will get you everywhere. So to the extent that you can be authentic with your flattery, it's going to open up doors for you. Here's another example here. This one's called the intellectual pitch door opener. It goes, "Hey, Ike, you must fail before you succeed." We're often taught this lesson as business owners, but I believe it's a lesson that is worth learning. I've developed a unique model that leads to sustainable growth without failure. Let's connect. So this one is, again, a little bit on the intellectual tip. If it resonates with the recipient, chances are they'll be interested in connecting. Another example is what I call the direct pitch door opener. And so this one comes in and it says, hey, Ike, I'm a virtual assistant who can help you in getting tasks done for your business. This will allow you to focus your time on the critical areas to help grow your business successfully. I'd love to connect so we can talk about this matter. This I like because if I'm in the market for help, a lot of solopreneurs, we often get to the point where we're just putting out so many fires, doing so many things that we really shouldn't be doing. We're doing 5 to 6 and 7 hour work when we should be focused on those high income generating activities, right? And so if I were in that position, this is a great direct pitch connection request. But again, it's, you kind of shrink the odds of success because you're going right for the kill on the first point of entry, first point of contact. Here is another example. And so we talked about the direct pitch. So let's talk about this for a second. One more thing here. Who in here watching this knows what I call the kiss of death in business? You guys recognize what that is? Well, here's what the kiss of death is in business. The kiss of death in business is not having sufficient leads for your business. Without leads, prospective clients and customers for your business, the demise, the death of your business is all but certain. But here's the thing. Once you start implementing the full scope of what I have briefly introduced to you today, I think it's safe to say that you can avoid the kiss of death for your business, whatever industry that you might be in. As a matter of fact, my personal testimony is this. Once I mastered both the long game as well as the short game that I've briefly introduced and shared with you guys here today, and once I understood the tenets of what I now teach in my client attraction mastery section of my 3 phases of success program, you want to know what happened? Here's what happened. Here's what happened to that guy that was on the verge of bankruptcy. I began generating 20 ideal client opportunities per month on average. Opportunities like these and these. And these are all people that are reaching out to me and asking if I would be willing to coach, to mentor them because something about what they saw on my profile resonated with them. I get tons and tons of opportunities like this on a monthly basis now. Some of these might be a little difficult for you to read. So I'm going to go ahead and share just 3 of these just so you get a sense for what this could look like. And so here's Lazarus. He's a financial accountant in Canada who, in response to my question of why he reached out to me, here's what he had to say. He said, "Hi, Ike. I hope you're well. I figured that because you're a certified mentor coach and a CPA that you can help with mentoring me. I am just about to establish my own accounting firm, and I know the road will not be rosy, and it's good to have coaches and mentors along the journey. God bless you, and let's connect soon." Okay. Here's another one. This one is from Donna, who's a life coach, a life career, and actually a leadership coach in Philly. Again, in response to my question, like, hey, why are you reaching out to connect? Here's what she says. She says, "I reached out because I appreciate your positive inspirations that you share. Additionally, I am just starting in the professional coaching realm and would like a mentor. I have over 20 years of HR experience and have been coaching others during that time. I want to do much more in coaching and motivational speaking and hoped that you'd be open to mentoring me." I'll show you one more example. This one is from Yolanda. She is an executive in the Chicago area who, again, in response to the question of why did you reach out to connect, she says, "Well, I was drawn to your profile based on the article that you wrote about finding your purpose. I was then intrigued by your experience as a coach with your financial background. I'm looking for a coach as I think about what comes next for me in terms of career and wealth building, all with the purpose of finding more time for my family. And so here's what I want you to think about. Here's what I want you to consider. Imagine if you were able to attract opportunities just like the ones I showed you. How much better would your business and your life be if lead generation and client attraction was made easy for you? And so let's assume that you've broken past those invisible boundaries I talked about at the start of this presentation. Those invisible boundaries of what's possible for you. Let's talk about what life could look like. And so here's the question. How many of you would like to generate an additional 10 to 20 new ideal client opportunities each and every month? And what if you were able to then build a six-figure business in 12 months that you could grow to multiple six figures or even seven figures in the years thereafter? And if you'd like to learn how you could accomplish all of what I just said without having to start a podcast, build an email list, even though Coach Lois will teach you exactly how to do that through this course. If you'd like to accomplish what I just shared without having to create an online course, build an online funnel, without having to hound family members and friends to become clients, or worse yet, without needing to pay for advertising to Facebook, Google, the usual suspects. Well, through a special offer that Lois will share with you on a strategy session call, you'll discover how this could be your reality as well. As a matter of fact, make sure that you lean in really close and you play full out over the next 5 days. And when Lois extends an offer for the opportunity for a strategy session call with her, listen, make sure you run, you jump at that opportunity, right? There are some incredible resources which she will be including as a bonus for those who go through the strategy sessions. As a matter of fact, my signature program that will teach you how to leverage my triple I formula coupled with my subconscious Inception marketing system using permission-based marketing techniques and my triple C relational currency lead generation methodology to absolutely crush your goals in business this year and the years to come. That's a resource that's going to be made available to help you get to the next level of success. So again, do yourself a favor. Make sure you take her up on the limited spots she's making available for those who have the opportunity to have a strategy session call with her. And I almost forgot. If perchance you're even remotely interested in learning about how you could turn your annual income into a monthly income, enjoy 12 weeks off each and every year, and thrive in business without ever having to worry about marketing again, then make sure you are registered for our upcoming Solopreneur 7-Figure Blueprint Masterclass that both Lois and I will be teaching. You'll find out more details about that. If you haven't already gotten that, make sure you are registered for it. Now, in concluding, I wanted to share 4 of the 70 or so recommendations that you will find on my LinkedIn profile. And if perchance we aren't already connected on LinkedIn, then make sure you send me a connection request by simply typing my name, Ike, I-K-E, Ikokwu, Ikokwu, in the search bar, or using the link that you see on the screen to go ahead and send me a connection request. It's that good-looking guy that you see on the screen right there. Okay, that's a screenshot of my profile. Go ahead and do that. And so here are a few comments from clients that I have served. Here's the first one. This one's from Jane. And Jane says, within the first few sessions of our success and money mindset portions of Ike's program, I started to experience some wins with new opportunities that I can only attribute to the shifts in my mindset that occurred. I'm happy to be working with someone who embodies #JMTDNA and who knows how to help you grow your business to 6 figures and beyond. James, one of my clients, she's a John Maxwell team coach, a speaker, and a consultant. Here's another one. This one is from Charlene, who's an attorney in Atlanta. And she says, Ike's approach to the inner game and the outer game of success is brilliant. It's such a relatable and relational approach that it's a natural fit to how I want to build my business. I've never been more excited to move slightly outside of my comfort zone, to grow my practice to multi-six figures and beyond. And I've already referred him to an advisor that I work closely with. Here's the third one. This one is from Todd. He's a keynote speaker and an executive coach. He says, I am rolling up my sleeves and doing the heavy lifting now, knowing that Ike's subconscious Inception marketing system will allow me to attract the ideal client, collaboration, and communication opportunities that I need to create a six-figure coaching business that I'm proud of. I know the system he teaches, for he models it daily. His results are duplicatable if you are willing to implement what he teaches. And then last but not least, you've got Vic. Vic is a management executive, a coach, and a professor. And Vic says, Ike's authenticity and values resonate with me. He's become one of my mentors. Recently, he invited me and several other professional coaches to participate in a 3-week masterclass focused on building our respective businesses by honing in on our elevator pitches, understanding our market niches, tailoring our value propositions, and discussing the process of lead generation within a sales funnel. This course was a tremendous ROI on my time, and I cannot recommend it enough. I have referred several people to Ike, and I have no doubt anyone working with him will receive the same blessings that I do. Listen, I love what I do. I am honored to be able to serve the people that I serve, and it really touches me to know the kind of impact that I'm able to have in the lives of those that I am privileged to work with. So listen, it's been an absolute pleasure spending this precious hour or so with you. I know that you've been exposed to a lot of really valuable information. But remember what I said earlier on, information without application only leads to devastation. However, information with application always leads to transformation. Isn't it time that you started experiencing the transformation that you seek to have, the kind of impact that you want to have in the lives of those that you want to serve? So do yourself a favor and get on the path of transformation by booking one of the limited slots that Lois has available for a strategy session. And if you haven't already done so, make sure you register for our upcoming Solopreneur 7-Figure Blueprint Masterclass, where Lois and I will impart more knowledge and wisdom on how you can turn your annual income to a monthly income, enjoy 12 weeks off each and every year, and thrive in business without ever having to worry about marketing again. I want to thank you again for your time. And until the next time we speak, remember to believe radically, pursue relentlessly, and you will achieve remarkably. Thanks a lot, guys. Take care and God bless.
Hey guys, and welcome back. I am here to support the amazing recording that the amazing Ike Ikokwu, a huge influencer in my life and amazing joint venture partner, shared some powerful information on LinkedIn client attraction. I just wanted to come in and give you your homework, your call to action to continue putting that ball down the field of that 100-yard line touchdown of creating and generating those 100 quality leads / conversations / referral partners / subscribers, wherever you are, plugging these people into you and building a community that you can monetize for the rest of your days and receive limitless referrals. You're building an asset. So I just want to again remind you, you want to be as part of this is day 3. So we have a live Q&A on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, so that you can come and ask questions. Again, that Q&A is at 12 p.m. Pacific time. And even if you don't attend the live, come inside Healthy and Wealthy and Wise podcast community and just hashtag replay on the Q&A and still ask your questions. That's the best way for you to learn and also connect with other people inside of that Healthy and Wealthy and Wise community. And again, if you haven't found that yet, go to healthyandwealthyandwise.com. So here is what you're going to be doing today as part of your call to action homework. And again, this isn't just about winning the grand prize, the $2,000 giveaways in coaching. I'm doing this on purpose. I was a college professor. So there's a lot of people who attend webinars or challenges, and it's all fine and good. It's a good dopamine hit. It's personal growth and development. A lot of this you've probably heard before, right? But did you take action on it? So that's half of your success inside of this is the action. So write this down. You'll also have received this, should have received this via email, as well as it's going to be something that you can inquire about with me also. So here's the day 3 call to action. So you saw Ike give you some scripts, some ideas of what to say on LinkedIn. You can also apply that on Facebook. I shared that with you yesterday on how to find people in groups of like-minded people with similar interests. Again, your vibe attracts your tribe, or even just making connections inside of Facebook of people, friends, common connections, however you want to do it, your warm market. Have you exhausted your warm market yet? So anyway, so add 20 more people, either new connections from your who's list and your Facebook and LinkedIn. If you want to tap into Ike's scripts, use those. Invite them to your tribe, whatever that is for you, your YouTube channel, your email list. If none of those apply, you can just put them in an Excel spreadsheet or your CRM. These are people you're going to want to follow up with and have more permission-based conversations with. Do an EIEIO bait post on LinkedIn. If you're not on LinkedIn, do it on Facebook. Be able to give value, to entertain, educate, inspire, engage with a poll or a survey questions. Remember, if you come to the Q&A, we can brainstorm on what's best for you. Okay. If you comment and like on these bait posts or on other people's posts and get an engagement, then of course, go inside those permission-based messengers, conversations, form the relationship first, then ask questions to get them to see if you are someone that could help them with what you do and serve. If you want, you can go inside groups on LinkedIn or Facebook and post an article or do a post. Anything is possible here. Okay. Bonus, do a Facebook Live or LinkedIn Live or video on LinkedIn for 90 seconds to pique people's interest. You can talk about anything that falls under the EIEI category, preferably the E, the I, the E, entertainment, inspiration, engaging, a thought of the day, whatever you want to do, whatever brings meaning to you, that gets you excited, that raises your vibration level and helps you shine your light out there on social media. Go for it. One final thing. I would love for you guys, if you are loving this content, but you're still struggling and maybe the Q&A isn't enough for you. I have limited spaces. You can go to bookacallwithlois.com and get a one-time experience of one-on-one coaching. It's my honor, my privilege. I won't be able to do everyone, obviously, especially this month. I'm moving. I got a lot of things on my plate, but I really would love to give a limited number of you guys opportunities to speak with me, even as early as this week, to pour rocket fuel on this content before it goes away. So go to bookacallwithlois.com. You'll get to my personal private scheduler and be able to give you that one-time experience of coaching. If you've already experienced coaching with me one-on-one, I would just ask that you wait, give other people opportunities first. But I still want you to be attending that live Q&A, especially, or shoot me a private message and we'll figure something out to help you in accomplishing your highest and best self, your highest and best income, your highest and best impact on the world. Until next time, guys, tomorrow's day 4. Going to be talking about the 3 keys to permission-based marketing and selling. Here's to your best health, your best wealth, and your best wisdom. See you guys. Congrats on completing another hour of the 5-day lead gen and sales mastery challenge. If you have any questions, shoot an email to lois@loiskofi.com. And even better yet, if there's something you heard today that you're like, gosh, I need more support, I need more clarity, I want help with this specific pain point in my business, go to www.bookacallwithlois.com. Apply, fill out the survey, and have an opportunity for a one-time experience of coaching, mano a mano with yours truly. Here's to your success on this journey. Again, go to www.bookacallwithlois.com. And of course, if you see value in this program, please refer your friends. It's a great opportunity for people to have more leads, more sales, and more success.